Hello, welcome to Chris's Moto Life. We're at episode 28. I know that I said 28 last time, but I keep losing count. I cannot remember how many we've done. So I went back and I counted them by hand. We are at 28 this week. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? We keep talking about all kinds of different stuff. Today is the ubiquitous MX-5 Miata by Mazda. These Mazda Miatas were introduced late 89 as 1990 models. What we've got here is a 1990 model with an 89 build date, and I think this one's like the 719th that came over to the States. This is a 29-year-old car. You know, most people are going to say to me, Chris, you know, you drive German, you don't drive Japanese. Why do you like Miatas? Because they're just so... It's like the Swiss, again, I always say this, but the Miata is like the Swiss Army knife of cars. I mean, it does everything. You could use it to go touring around, go for rides with your girlfriend. You could take it to dinner. You could throw some sticky tires on it. You could take it to an autocross. There's a spec Miata class in the SCCA where you could race. So every time somebody says to me, Chris, I need a car, but I don't want to spend a lot of money, what would you recommend? Well, I'll tell you what, I would recommend one of these. I think you can get these anywhere from $1,000 all the way up to $10,000 for a perfect one. This is a Series 1, made from 1990 through 1997, I want to say. I think it went 7 years. I'm going to cheat and look at my notes. Yep, 1990 to 1997. There were 400,000 of these sold, of this body style. So what makes that really neat is that if anything ever happens to the car, parts are like your nearest junkyard away. You could build these. I know guys that race them, that just buy fenders because they're constantly banging into each other. Just a really neat car. Okay, the bare minimum specs. The car weighs 2,100 pounds. This one came with a 1.6 liter engine. And they had the 1.6 up until 1993, I think it was 93. It became a 1.8 with 128 horsepower, 12 horsepower, big whoop. So I wouldn't even bother. I wouldn't even worry if I had the 1.6 or the 1.8 engine. You're still going to get some fun. All right, why don't we take a look under the hood and start out, as we always do. You are not going to believe that this is a 29-year-old car. I mean, look at this engine. I mean, and look at how clean this is. This car is absolutely preservation class status. This, again, as we said, is the 1.6 liter engine. There's nothing out of place on this. Not really a lot goes on these. I think clutch slave cylinders are a known weak spot. This one, I would suggest to do the timing belt, but it really doesn't seem to need it. I mean, it's a non-interference engine, so if the timing belt ever breaks, it's not like you're going to mash your valves up or anything like that. You're just going to end up on the side of the road calling a tow truck. But I just wanted you guys to see how nice a car could be at 29 years. I mean, this is about as clean as you are ever going to see underneath the hood. This is the same owner, by the way, as owns the Porsche 356 that we reviewed last week. This guy's got some really nice stuff, and he absolutely takes care of his vehicles. And most of what he has is just quality. I mean, it's show quality. Let me show you the trunk. Let's go around back. Not much of a trunk, but at least you get a trunk, so if you're gonna travel for the weekend, you can actually fit some stuff in here. I'd say this equates kind of nicely to the MGB trunk. I mean, we got to think about this car, as the owner was jokingly saying, that this is the best British car that the British never built. It's just, I mean, look at it. It's practical, it's durable. There's not a lot that could go wrong. Let's take a look at the interior. These all had a 5-speed. My friend Alan Duke from up in the Wilkes-Barre area, I'm going to open the other door so that we could actually get a little more light in there. The owner likes to keep the roof up. I mean, very basic instrumentation. You've got the tachometer, speedometer, gas gauge, temp gauge I'm seeing in here. This one, I can't tell if it, yep, this one does have air conditioning, which I never could understand why they would put air conditioning in a convertible. Now, my friend Alan Duke, as I was talking about, he's a Mercedes mechanic from up in the Wilkes-Barre area, told me the first time that he drove one of these, he said that this was the closest thing that he's ever driven that shifted like a motorcycle. He claims that it just clicks into gear so easy, it feels like you're driving a motorcycle. So this one's really clean, guys. You're not going to see them like this all the time. And if you look at the door, I mean, if you look in there in the door and everything, I mean, look at this. I mean, look at this, how clean that is. And then we've got here, we've got it. I mean, that's a pretty clean, very clean car. So, if anybody still has any doubts about what car you should really buy, if you really want to buy a cheap car and just get some transportation, you'll want to get a race car. You got to look at these Mazda Miatas. I mean, at 400,000 of them, there's parts are plentiful. The aftermarket is so full of stuff. I mean, with bolt-ons, I've seen anything from superchargers bolted onto these, turbochargers, big fat wheels, suspension kits. You could just, I mean, you could seriously tailor this car to however you want it. I think it's kind of a neat niche car. And I mean, to be honest with you, I'd love to get another MGB, but after seeing this, why would I want to buy a car that's going to break all the time when I could just drive this, turn the key, take it out, beat the living daylights out of it? Nothing's going to happen. Like I just said, even if I break the timing belt by revving the bejesus out of the engine, nothing's going to happen when it breaks. It's just going to glide to the side of the road. So that's what we've got for you. And what I want to say is I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to Chris's Moto Life. I want you all to have the most awesome week ahead that you possibly can. And I will see you all next week. Have a great one.